Very excited to have this gentleman on the Do Money Differently podcast slash newsletter, right? We are excited to have Adam Clark on talking about crypto. And I met Adam, many years ago, because you're continue to be a good friend of my son, Alec. And we all have our crypto story of when we started to invest in crypto, and people that are watching are wondering about crypto, Adam, like, should I get involved? The Bitcoin, noise that's out there and has been for years, and, so much. So I look forward to talking with you, Adam, and having you on Do Money Differently.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
100%. So you just turned 25, by the way, and happy birthday. I think it was yesterday.
It was, yep.
And I just want everyone who's listening to tell me about the first time you bought crypto. Everyone has their story of when they bought their first stock. It's kind of like a fun experience. So I have a lot of questions for the audience, and certainly I'm going to be learning along the way too. We'll talk about blockchain, talk about some exchanges, and just get the comfort level to a place where our audience can go, oh, okay, this is not as I'm not as fearful as I thought I need to be, or just guide people to do this correctly. So I'd love to ask first question: when did you buy your first crypto, and tell me about that experience?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it was 2017. It was the first time I bought crypto. It was right after Bitcoin just had a big run up, and I was like, "All right, let me get on Coinbase and see what's going on over here in this crypto land." When I had no idea with what any of this stuff meant, just like most people. And I was like, "Oh well, Bitcoin's really expensive, but there's this token over here called Chainlink that it's not expensive at all. So I'm going to buy that, and hopefully it hits $10,000 like Bitcoin did one day." And so Chainlink was my first purchase. I got the shirt on right here. Um, Although when I bought it, I had no idea about any of the technology. It was just, here's my money, and I'm gonna kind of gamble it. As we'll get into this a little more later, Chainlink happens to be my favorite investment that I have to this day, and we can talk about that a little bit more. Just dumb luck that it happened to be my first one, and then now it's my favorite. So it is a pretty good story that everything came full circle from knowing nothing to now being where I'm at.
That's great. Yes, I for me I was told by a woman named Lori Court. And Lori, if you're going to be listening, and she probably will be because she's a subscriber, back in 2017, Todd, you got to buy some Bitcoin. And I'm like, okay. And so I bought $500 worth of Bitcoin at $4,000 a coin. That's how I got started. And then my other son, Luke, when he was at Ohio State, this is several years ago, so we're going around 2017 as well. This is a story that I share a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? We all have that. Oh man, I wish I would have bought Bitcoin at 100 or whatever. And he said, Dad, have you heard of Ethereum? You should buy some. And I said, excuse me? I said, what did you say? What? He goes, Ethereum. And I said, that sounds like another planet they found. I have no idea what you're talking about. The word Ethereum sounded so strange to me. And it was trading at about $25 a coin back when my son Luke told me to buy it. Did I buy it? No. So that's my story, right? Of the woulda, coulda, shoulda. But let's get into some of the basics of crypto that is not related to the coins, and just talk a little bit about to help our viewers. And again, I'm learning along the way about blockchain, just a little bit about blockchain so that people can understand the underpinnings of cryptocurrency, and start there if you don't mind on blockchain, please.
Of course. Yeah. So blockchain technology is this, also known as distributed ledger technology, was invented when Bitcoin was invented. So it's kind of the byproduct of Bitcoin, if you will. And Bitcoin was solving a big problem in this digital money space. See, a lot of people don't know that this digital money problem they've been attempting to solve this since like the late 80s through the 90s. this money problem, digital money, and they kept running into this problem of double spending. So you could spend your token at one place and at another place at the same time, and the network was not able to stop you from spending the same token twice. And obviously, that's a problem because you could just buy unlimited things with one token, and money can't work that way. So the whole idea of blockchain was having this ledger that everybody that participates in the network can see, and it makes sure that all the bitcoins are accounted for at any given point in time, and that prevents double spending. And now we know that technology as blockchain.
That's yeah, it's just exciting to learn a new technology. I again call myself a I'm in kindergarten learning blockchain, learning crypto. I am open to continue to learn, right? I remember when Microsoft came out in 1986, the company called Microsoft, and I didn't buy any of their stock because I had no idea what software meant. I'm like, what is that? And so you, at whatever age, you just want to continually learn, and this is something that's not going away. So let's go when
Correct.
it comes to crypto. Let's go into the kind of discussion of how you describe Bitcoin. It's a constant conversation. How do you personally describe Bitcoin, of what it is and what it's not?
Yeah, so currently, I would probably describe it as a store of value or kind of a safe haven asset, just because there's a finite amount. No more can be minted than what was set in the code.
21
But when
million,
it
right?
21 million exactly, and I think we're at like 96% in circulation, so we're getting to all 21 million being out there. So I would call it a store of value, kind of a digital gold is like the buzzwords going around. Um, but I think it's important to kind of note that that's not what when it was created. That's not generally the idea that they had. So when it was created in 2009, 2010, they thought of it just as a peer-to-peer currency, and so that I could send you money without a bank. Um, and all of those transactions were held in that distributed ledger. And anybody could go look at the ledger and see, okay, this person, well, their personal details weren't there, but you could see this wallet sent this wallet this amount of Bitcoin. And the whole decentralized nature of it just makes it censorship proof. So no one could tell you no, you can't send that Bitcoin to this person. It was completely trustless, and that's how it started to gain popularity. I know Silk Road. We just had big news about Ross Albright, who just got pardoned. Um, that raised people's awareness about Bitcoin a little bit because there's no banks or credit card companies that would facilitate transactions on this dark web. So they resorted to Bitcoin because it's censorship resistant and it was really good at moving value. And so that's what they settled on.
Yeah, I remember that. And I've been following, again, people much smarter than me when it comes to blockchain and crypto. And um, a gentleman named Tika Tawari, who I've followed for quite a while, and others had talked about how government was saying, yeah, we don't like Bitcoin because that's where all the bad money's going to, and can go to terrorists and go to all kinds of negative things. And when you kind of critically thought about it, or had others who knew about this more than I did, and they critically thought, and they said, well, wait a minute, there is more USD being dealt with when it comes to smuggling, terrorist acts, things like that, using cash. And it's kind of harder to trace with cash. Whereas Bitcoin, it's like you said, it's on the open blockchain distributed ledger. It's transparent. So a lot of people were saying police love, and CIA and FBI love it when you try and use Bitcoin because they're going to find you pretty quickly. Is that correct? Isn't that right with the open blockchain?
Yeah, technically, yes, you can track wallets and stuff. Being able to connect those wallets back to an individual is a little bit of a different story.
Okay.
But yeah, it is public. The wallet addresses are public. Anybody can go look at the ledger and see all the transactions going on.
So, okay. Well, that's about Bitcoin. Let's move on to some other coins that are being discussed, and I'd love to hear your opinions on what's going on in the meme coin, and then just explaining. There's Ethereum, obviously number two, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana is a big respected coin. If you wouldn't mind talking about those two particular cryptocurrencies, Ethereum and Solana, and how that's also kind of like a railroad, if you will, for other projects to be built on. If you wouldn't mind speaking to those just a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So I just talking to a bunch of people that don't know much about crypto. One common misconception that they have is that Bitcoin and Ethereum are the same thing. And that really couldn't be further from the truth. And I liked how you put it, like the rails to be built on. So Ethereum and Solana are both considered to be blockchains or layer ones, depending on what you call it. Um, and their token isn't meant to be a peer-to-peer digital currency like Bitcoin was. Their token is meant to uh, pay for space on the blockchain. So if you want to build something on Ethereum, you have to buy the ETH token and then use that to pay to build a website, we'll call it. So Bitcoin or Ethereum and Solana are both blockchains, and they're both different than Bitcoin. And I think that's a big point that people need to understand. So you can think of Ethereum and Solana as like two different um, two different web browsers. Say, if you build a project on Ethereum, you can only access that project on the Ethereum network. And if you build a project on Solana, you can only access it on that Solana browser. And that's kind of a problem when we get into this mainstream adoption cycle that we're going into. But I guess the main idea is that they're not inherently connected. So the Ethereum is its own system, and Solana has its own thing going on. And they are digital islands of data, as they call them. They're not. There's nothing that connects them natively in the middle.
Yeah, fantastic. You put things very simply for not only me, but I know many others when it comes to just learning about these basics and maybe taking some fear away. So let's talk about the meme coin movement, right? Dogecoin to now Trump coin. And I mean, there's all kinds of, there's even a fart coin. I mean, it's kind of silly and crazy and reminds me of pink sheet stocks, right? That
Exactly.
were traded in, and something that I share in a previous issue of Do Money Differently newsletter, where I was 22 years old and I bought a stock that wasn't even traded on an exchange for the hopes that it would eventually get onto the stock exchange. And I put $1,300 into this private pink sheet, if you will, stock, and it was I was playing the lottery at 22. That's all I was doing, and obviously lost my money. So, describe what a meme coin is, just for understanding for people out there, this movement on meme coins and what your take is on all this.
So my favorite way to talk about meme coins is I like to call them tokenized culture or monetized culture. So one of the killer applications of blockchains is being able to create tokens that represent other assets, whether that be a meme coin or whether that be a money market fund, in which we would call a real world asset. Blockchains allow us to create tokens for these, for anything really. As you can see, the most famous meme coin is Doge. And so you're able to, it was like the most widely used meme on the internet. So it has a lot of mind share for people. And you're able to take that idea, that concept, or that culture and connect a token to it. And people are able to buy that token and people are able to sell that token. So it creates its own little market, um, just based on that one aspect of a meme. Um, and it's very interesting, as you said, like Fartcoin, Doge, all these things that really don't do anything, but people love to buy them. They're turning into cults, for better or for worse, and people are making real money off of them. So I think there's value in culture, and being able to tokenize that value is just one of the cool aspects of blockchain is just this new value creation and capture.
Yeah, that's that's awesome. Thanks for that description. The something I have learned many years ago, and I will continue to speak on this and write about it inside of Do Money Differently, is the ability to have certain investment accounts, right? Your Roth IRA, your 401k with stocks. And I'm such a massive believer in the US stock market over time that has consistently and proven to create wealth for millions of people who choose to participate in the US stock market, right? Through ETFs of 100 plus different stocks and bonds and all that, just constantly invest weekly, monthly is what we teach, automated investing. But something several years ago caught my eye was related to crypto and a couple of people who, again, have done things a little bit differently. And that is what's called asymmetric investing, where you can take a portion of your investment portfolio. Maybe it's 1%, maybe it's 2%, and look for high risk opportunities for greater return to accelerate wealth creation while not, if something doesn't go right, you're not toast. You're not living
Mm-hmm.
under the bridge because you lost everything, right? So, in some ways, it's kind of like private equity where, okay, here's 10 restaurant ideas to invest in that have never been out in the marketplace yet. And for all the Chipotles that have done amazing, right? There are many restaurant concepts that have failed. So if you put $500 into one restaurant concept and 9 out of 10 flopped, but one went pretty sweet, then you're going to be okay. And there's some accelerated wealth. And I compare that to crypto and even some individual stocks that people may want to buy. So that's how I look at, you know, crypto. It's not a, you know, with Bitcoin, I can't imagine that we're going to see Bitcoin, you know, triple within weeks again. It's done its, you know, massive growth, but there's a lot more ahead. I'm certain of that. I believe 99%. But let's talk quickly on, you have a shirt and it's titled Chainlink, and you talked about that was your first crypto that you bought. I own some Chainlink as well. Uh, you personally have sent me some great things over the last couple of years as you have. After you got out of college, you're in the financial services world, and you're helping, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're helping some financial advisors. Just you're educating them on helping them to say, hey, if you have clients that want to get into crypto, this is how we can help them put a portion of their investment portfolio in crypto. So I asked you two things there. One, what you're doing now, and then tell me more about your enthusiasm with Chainlink and why you like that technology.
All right, I'll cover the my background a little bit before we go into Chainlink. But yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. So right out of college, I started working with a company called Revisor Wealth Management Partners, based in Akron, Ohio. I was working business development sales for them, and we had all this interest in crypto start to come up. And this was before the Bitcoin ETFs and the Ethereum ETFs. But we really had no way to give the clients that wanted that asymmetric risk exposure. We didn't have a way to give that to them. And I've been in the space for a long time. It was like my side gig, you could call it. And so I decided to start like a new section of Revisor that was based on digital assets and crypto. So I helped build all their portfolios. A lot of it is education because people aren't going to invest in something if they don't understand it. So I help educate our advisors on what crypto is and how its impact on our financial system and how it's going to all play out here. And so yeah, that's what I do. But we'll go back to Chainlink for a second. Um, yeah, so as I was explaining earlier, when you have like if you think of Ethereum and Solana as two different internet browsers, the internet was like that at one point to where like if you wanted to use YouTube, you would have to go. This is just an example. It wasn't exactly like this, but you would have to use one browser for YouTube and one browser for your email. And there was no set of standards to allow those two to connect. And now you just go on whatever browser you want and you can get to every single website on the internet for the most part. And that's Chainlink's goal within blockchains. So Ethereum is its own browser, Solana is its own browser, and Chainlink is the set of data standards to help them interconnect with each other. And it just solves a very big problem. I mean, unless you've actually gone like on chain and tried to buy a token that's not on Coinbase, say, the problem doesn't really make that much sense. But if you've ever tried to go on Uniswap and buy a token that's on the Solana network, that won't work because Uniswap is on Ethereum. So you have to go find another exchange that's built on Solana to go find that token that was built on Solana. So it's a whole big jumbled mess. And unless you're deep into it, it doesn't make that much sense. So Chainlink's whole goal is to create this unified internet of contracts to where the end users don't have to worry about what chain they're on. They don't have to worry about having Ethereum in their wallet to pay for the transaction. You can pay with anything and you can go to one central spot to interact with all the different blockchains that there may be. And a lot of the times it's compared to TCP/IP from the internet days. And that's like the unifying protocol that allows us to go to one internet browser and connect to all the websites. So they're pretty much taking that old concept that was implemented for the internet and rebuilding it completely from the ground up for blockchains. So that is their whole goal, is to get the world to run on blockchain. And it's really the biggest problem in the space because the financial markets are not going to move over if there's all these like little pools of liquidity that aren't able to interact with each other, and you have value stuck on these little islands. It's not how it works today, and so they're not willing to go backwards just to gain a few benefits of the blockchain technology. So they're working really hard to solve the data problem. We call it the interoperability problem between blockchains, and then into like identity verification, just to be compliant with asset managers' current regulations. Like if you want to buy some venture capital fund, you have to be an accredited investor. And so that rule's not going away. We just have to make sure that we can apply that same rule to everything that's happening on the blockchain. So that was kind of a long rundown on Chainlink, but
that's great.
That's why I like them. It's a very boring thing, and if you're not in it, so I don't think many people pay that much attention to it. But because I am one of the people that want the world to run on blockchains and see the benefits of everything running on blockchains, it is just an absolute necessity for a protocol like Chainlink to have these set of standards and these rails that are reliable and secure, so we can start moving value over from the old system.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. That's a great description. The name kind of says who they are, right? Linking a variety of chains, and it's rails and can take you anywhere. Just jump on, so to speak. I want to briefly turn to someone who is listening that says, okay, I've always wanted to buy crypto. I have a little bit, and inside of Do Money Differently, I'm exposing my portfolio of stocks and crypto now. And any trades I make, if you will, might be one or two, maybe none per month. But when I do make a trade in a stock or a crypto, I will let our readers know and followers know. But I have my mainstay, right? What we teach within Do Money Differently is, like I said, have your 401k, your 403b, your Roth IRA, your personal stock investment account. We talk about having multiple investment accounts to slowly grow wealth over time. Let time do the heavy lifting. But when it comes to crypto, there is obvious volatility that is much more significant than the stock market. And if someone says, okay, I do want to put a small portion of my beginning investment portfolio into crypto, first talk about what exchanges would you recommend someone to go buy on? Of course, Coinbase is there, but I just want to hear your take on. Again, we're talking more about a uh, relative beginner in crypto that we reach, and what would you recommend that's most safe and secure for them to purchase their first Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Chainlink, whatever?
Yeah, I do really like Coinbase. A couple other options would be Binance and Kraken. I personally use Coinbase though, so I can speak more to that. One of my favorite things about Coinbase is just how easy it is. The UI and the UX is just very nice and neat. And they can also very simply in 2 clicks you can set up recurring buys. So you if you want to invest $25 a week, it takes 2 clicks and you don't even have to think about it. It just comes out once a week, and that's how you can really start to build up a portfolio, and you don't have to worry about um, dumping a bunch of money in at one time. You just let it slowly build up.
That's nice. That feature is nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ties into the dollar cost averaging that we teach with stock market investing, right? Stocks weekly, monthly, whether that's through Acorns and places like that. That's great. Um, as we close out here, I would always love to hear if you had a top five. And again, this is not financial advice that you're giving, so people will have their own. They need to do their own due diligence on choosing to invest in any crypto or any stock. But what would you say if you had your top five? And I know you like Chainlink, but what would be your top five cryptocurrencies for people to do their own research on before they invest some money, for example, in them?
Yeah, okay, I'll do these in order, but I might have to think for a second. So definitely number one would be Chainlink, obviously. Um, I think they're invaluable to the space, and they provide so much of what blockchains don't natively have, to ignore them. Number two would probably be Bitcoin. It was the first one. I think it's at this time has definitely solidified its spot of it's not going anywhere. The regulators aren't going to regulate it away. Like it's been seen as pretty safe. Three, I would say probably Ethereum. It's the original smart contracts problem or smart contracts protocol, where you can create and execute smart contracts. And then four and five, I would probably say Aave at four. So Aave is the world's largest DeFi protocol, which is essentially a decentralized bank. You can go in there and you can borrow funds, you can lend funds. Um, it's just decentralized finance. And then five, I'd probably put Dogecoin just because it was the first meme that really took off. And as I said before, people make fun of memes because they don't have utility like a Chainlink or a Ethereum would. But culture has value, and I think it's been proven with a market cap of 75 billion at one point that meme coins are here and they're here to stay. Although they are riskier and they tend to be a lot more volatile. That's just the um, higher risk of your high risk options.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's fun. Like you can say what you want about meme coins, but they're fun. So
Yeah,
um,
no, that's
I-
I love that. I love how you said higher risk of the higher of the riskier asset class that cryptocurrency is. Okay, to end, we just chatted a little bit about some of my questions ahead of this, but you did not hear this. This is completely brand new to end with. As we teach inside of Do Money Differently, right? I teach mindset. We teach mindset, how to overcome limiting beliefs about yourself and money. Uh, just had a I've been having the honor and privilege to help so many people overcome this mindset thing. Like I can do this. I can do money differently. I love my parents, but I just want to do money differently than them. We hear this a lot. I do have dreams and I do want to, be sure I can get to those. And then we teach how to save, spend, invest. This is where you're coming into on the crypto side. And then we end it with the giving, right? To live a generous life is probably the most fun life available as you create wealth. But are there a couple of dreams that you have with what you foresee for your life down the road with as you are making money? Is there something that just some fun dreams? They could be anything. What do you dream about for your life to look like down the road?
Um, I don't know. I'd say probably my biggest motivator for what I'm doing, working on now, is to afford to have a very big and happy family within, I don't know, I don't have a timeline, but of be able
Sure.
to afford to have a big happy family in the future. Um, that's probably my biggest goal. Everything kind of lines up with that. Um, Obviously, it's expensive to raise kids nowadays, and it doesn't look like it's getting any cheaper. So I'm doing I'm doing my best to put myself in the best position for success and honestly luck. Like, you don't just get lucky; you have to put yourself in a position to get lucky, and luck strikes on a wide surface area. So if you can make that surface area as big as possible, you're more likely to get lucky. And people might say, "Oh, you just got lucky that you bought Chainlink when it was $5." And like, you can call it luck, but I put myself into it, and I studied what other people weren't willing to study and learn about in order for that luck to strike. Um, that's all I'd say there. I don't have any.
That's
I don't
awesome.
know.
I, I love it.
Material things don't drive me. It's just freedom and family.
Love it. Love it, Adam. Well, again, thank you for your time. I hope everyone has enjoyed this interview podcast style with Adam Clark, and look forward to having you back on down the road here, Adam. Thanks for your insight. I learned a ton as well, as always. So, again, thanks for I'm excited to have you on.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was a good time. Always love talking about this stuff.
Good stuff. All right. Take care.
You too.